Hello, welcome to my channel. You are an artist. Welcome if you're new, welcome back if you're returning. So this is video 5 of working on my junk journal, start to finish. So I just wanted to catch you up a little bit on some of the things I've been doing. So I went ahead and finished up the tags and I put some words on them and I inked them all up. And then same with these journal cards, added some bling and just got them ready to go. Looks like that one needs inking up, but that's okay. I can do that later. And then here's my journal. And I clipped it shut to try to help it to want to stay shut. And I cut that one sheet of paper that kept sticking out. I'm just not going to deal with it. And so here's where we've gotten so far. And I think it's coming along just great. So I'm just giving you a quick flip through. Now here's a fun ad. It's a Taco Bell bag, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with that in a little bit. And here is, looks like, no, I was going to say it looked like I clipped 2 pages together, but I didn't. There we go. So you can see there's going to be plenty of spaces to write, but we're going to be adding more. And now this is going to be kind of a repeat of what we just saw. But little by little it's coming, and it's kind of a sewing theme. Now here's the other side of that Taco Bell bag. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a little fold over tuck and then put some little fun things in there. So I think that'll be cool. You'll see more of that in a little bit. And then some more pages. I think that's pretty. There's that music one. It's clinging. There we go. And then here. And some writing space. And here. And here. And there we go. So that's how far I've gotten with this. I'm going to leave the clip off and let it relax a little bit. And the tags are going everywhere. I'm trying to be organized. It's not my strong suit. So to add in some of these tucks and pockets and things, we're going to be doing some watercolor. And so I'm going to be using the Strathmore Series 400 watercolor paper. And I have here the back of one of those pads that if I want to tape something down, I can. And then I cut some of this watercolor paper. These are the scraps. If we have time, we can do something fun with those, but I'm going to set them aside. And then these I cut into 2.5 by 3.5, which is the official trading card size. So I'm going to make some artist trading cards, and we'll do that together, a few of those. And then these, I just took it's 9 by 12, and I just cut it into 4s, and we're going to be working on those too. So I think I'll start out with one of those. And I just want to make some fun pictures or little bits of art that we can put into our journal. I'm just reaching for some washi tape, and I'm going to tape it down. So I hope that you're doing well. I hope that you are having a good spring so far, or maybe you're in another part of the world where you're into autumn. Could be, you never know. But I'm just taping this down, and I'm not so much worried about like creating an even frame around this as much as I just want to prevent it from wanting to buckle up on me, which it might. We will see. We are having a very rainy day. It's completely overcast. There's very little sun. I almost feel like I'm here with you in the dark. But I cannot control the weather. So I just have to work with what we have. So I hope there's enough light. But if it seems different, that's why. Because it is a cloudy, rainy day. but that's okay. We're going to still enjoy ourselves. Okay, so I have my Jane Davenport Brights, and I'm going to be using those paints, and I'll keep things in the frame as best I can. And I'm going to go ahead and activate it. I've got my watercolor brushes out, and I've got double weld water to rinse and then to double rinse. And I just picked out a few brushes, but I've got the whole gang of brushes here. And it's a coffee day, isn't it? Yes, it is. Okay, so we know that this is a sewing themed kind of journal, junk journal, art journal. This is the art journal part. So I thought I would make some little birds. Now I make these little birds all the time. They're just so fun, but they do take some dry time. So that's why I wanted to start first. Making the birds is not hard. What is, I wouldn't say hard, but I guess a little challenging is being able to figure out something for them to do. So I'm going to start by making 3 sort of circles, not exact. Make this one a little shorter. I realize this is very hard for you to see. Maybe put this one over here. And I'm filling in these circles with water. I don't want a puddle, but I just want it wet so it looks all shiny. But I don't want standing water. And now I'm just going to fill them in with some colors. So what colors? I'm going to start with this kind of a pinkish color, and I'm just going to dot. And I'm going to put dots on the top, which would be supposedly where their heads would be. Rinsing, tapping, and I'm going to go in with even a more pinkety pink here. I'm going to do the same thing and just add some dots. So they're going to be kind of 2-colored. Now, if your dots don't spread as much as you want, then you need to add water. But it's better to want to add more water than it is if you started with too much water. That's a little bit more challenging. So I'm just dabbing in some water to get these paints to run a little bit and mingle a little bit, like that. And as they dry, they will change. Okay, so we're just going to let them kind of do their thing. I may just help this one out with a little bit more pink. Maybe help all of them out with a little bit more pink, just where I can see that the paint's not going. But this is not precision, and it's, I mean, if you can do this right, sure you can. Okay. So what I thought the birds might be looking at is a spool of thread. So I'm going to start by just picking out a color, and I'm picking purple. And I'm just going to make kind of a rectangle, and this is a little bit drier, but that's okay. And I'm just going to put this. Maybe I'll add another one. And maybe this one can be blue. And again, I'm working fairly dry, not too dry. Maybe put one over here. And then maybe one more, or even 2 more. I'm picking out a different blue. Maybe put one over here. And I got a drop of water right in the middle of nothing. So I'm just going to sop it up with my brush. There. And let's have one more. I'm going to give it this kind of a red color. Put it down here. There we go. Okay. So we've got our thread, Now I'm going to give them a friend. And he's going to be flying in. So I'm going to just, let's see. I'm going to make a little pool. And now this is a standing up puddle. And I'm going to just grab that pink that I used in the other birds and put some of that in there. And then I'm going to grab that other pink, purpley pink, and put that in there. And now I'm going to give him some wings. And the way I'm going to do that, and this is very unpredictable, is I'm going to blow the paint and get some wings. We'll see. Yep, there's two. And let's get two more. Okay, so that guy's going to be flying in for a landing. How about that? I'm just going to even out the paint a little bit here, but I'm not changing the shape. See, by blowing it, you get kind of a organic feel to it all, which I think is really, really cool. Okay, this needs to dry a little bit. If I hit it with the heat gun, for one thing, the wings may blow and change, but these marbling kind of flowy guys, they will change, and I just want them to rest a little bit so that they can just do their thing. So I'm just setting that down on a flat surface, and now I'm going to grab another one of these. And let's just make maybe one bird. Yeah, we'll just make one bird on him. So I'm going to make him larger, or her. And again, I just want it shiny wet, but I don't want it to be a puddle. And this one, I'm going to start with this leftover yellow that I have down here. Just use this up. And it may be awfully light. I really don't care. And I'm going to put this kind of in the middle. It's kind of a ochre color, huh? And then I'm going to add another color. I'm going to add some blue. And if it blends into a green, I really don't care. And just add this blue around. A little more. And I'm even going to put some of the blue at the very bottom. Okay. And then this guy, maybe he's just going to be looking at some flowers. So I'm going to start with this pink. And I'm going to make 3 dots. Rinse, dab off, and now make a petal shape. Like this. Make another petal shape. Okay. Grab the pink. 3 more dots. Rinse, dab off. Not enough water. Just putting the very tip in. There's 1 petal. 2 petals. Just making kind of teardrop shapes. 3 petals. I'm just adding a little pink from the one over to the other. Okay. And 1 more flower. And we can put it right here. That's not enough pigment, I can just tell. 1, 2, 3. Rinse, dab off. I've got some water on the ferrule, and I don't want to have it come crashing down. And there's 1, 2, and 3. Okay. All right, now I'm going to go back to the first flower, add this pink, drop, 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 rinse, dab off, and do the same here, and do the same here. Okay, get some more color, drop, not enough, drop, 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 rinse and dab off, fill it in. Petal shapes, kind of teardrop shapes. One more. Okay, looks good to me. And grab some more pink and dot, dot, dot. Those are not very much. I'm going to add just a little bit more. Dot, dot, dot. Okay, rinse and dab off. Water on the ferrule. Make my petal shapes. This is very simple. The heat just came on, so that's going to help all of our little paintings dry. Okay, I'm going to head into the yellow, and I don't know if you can see it, but I'm heading into the yellow. Water on the ferrule, there we go. And I'm going to go ahead. Now this may bleed up into the petals, and I really don't care. That's quite all right. Put them in. Okay. And now I'm gonna get a square brush. Let's find one. That's an awfully big one. There we go. Okay, square brush. I'm just gonna add a little bit of blue in the sky by just making these left and right motions. Not too much, a little more water. I don't want to saturate the paper. I'm just making like a suggestion of a little bit of sky. Now I'm wetting it. I'm going to drag it down just a little here and a little here. And it's going to be a very subtle change, but that's okay. Okay, and I was careful not to touch my bird. All right, let's see what else we can do. How about, I'm going to take this very thin, they call it a liner. I usually call it a twiggy brush, but it's just a very, very thin, and I don't want it too wet and I don't want it too dry, and I'm going into kind of a phthalo green kind of a color, and I'm just going to add some stems, and I don't care if they're kind of wiggly. Kind of makes them look cool. And that guy can go right there. And now I'm going to take a little bit, I'm going back to that same round brush that I've been using, and I'm going to go back into that same green, and I'm going to do a dot and a dot and rinse and dab off. Not wet enough. Bring out a leaf and bring out a leaf. Okay, good. Same green. And I'm going to put a dot here. And I'm going to put a dot way over here. Rinse, dry off. And make a little petal shape. Well, it's a leaf shape. Kind of the same, aren't they? Okay. I'm going to add one more leaf. Right here. And now I'm going to bring out a leaf shape. And there. Okay. Now I'm going back to that liner brush, back into that same green, and now I'm just going to attach the leaves to this stem. Like that. Okay. Now, these flowers need a little bit of grounding. So I've got kind of a darkish, greenish, grayish color. I'm going to add a little bit of that. And now I'm going to take the same brush, go into a brighter green, and add a little of that. Okay. All right. Let's see. I can tell that this is wet, but I think this like marbly kind of thing has done all it's going to do. So let's hit this with a dry heat gun and see what we get, okay? It's going to be noisy. Sorry. I think that's good. All right, so now you can see that even though it's watercolor, I just know these paints don't tend to shift, so it didn't like really lighten up when I hit it with the heat tool. And these are nice and dry. Okay, he is going to need some eyes. So I have a white gel pen, and you have to think about, well, which way is he going to be looking? Is he going to be looking at us? I think so. So I'm going to give him one eye here and fill it in. And I may have to do this with 2 coats. And I think I want these eyes even a little bit bigger. Yeah. And that's going to take a minute to dry. And as again, it may pick up the blue from underneath. And I'll just put another coat on if that happens. Okay, so there's his eyes. Now his feet. So I'm grabbing a Sharpie and I'm gonna put his feet in. Now he may be standing kind of behind, so I don't know if I'm gonna make the legs go all the way down. We'll just see where the pen takes me. I think that's far enough. And maybe put another leg here. Going behind. Yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to decorate these. So I think what I'm going to do is just kind of this side, and I'm making like sort of like circles, half circles, and I'm just going to go all the way down his leg. And these details help make it really fun. And then for his feet, I just do 1, 2, 3, and then a little foot in the back. You know, they've got that little thing. And I mean, these are very whimsical. No one's going to look at this and say, oh, well, that's a blue this or a red. No, it's just a fantasy little guy. All right, I'm going to give him a little bit of hair. So I think I'm going to give him a curl going down, another curl going down, and then another curl going straight up in the air. That's fun. And then I'm going to make him a wing. Like that. Another wing. Like that. Now, how are these eyes? They're pretty dry, but I'm going to give them another coat. I just want them a little bit whiter. So that's going to have to dry a little bit. And going to give him a beak, and I want him to be smiling like that. And I'm going to give him some fun little eyebrows. And then I can't put the pupils in yet because it really needs to dry. So there's one of our little birds. Now let's see how our other birds are doing. And we'll see where that goes. And then we'll come back to this. Okay. They look quite dry. Little heat gun. Just a little. Okay. And white pen because I want to get their eyes in. Okay, so this guy is going to have his eyes looking more towards the thread. And her or him, same thing. And this one, he's going to be quite sideways. He's going to be reaching for one of these. Okay, we can let that dry. Now, I'm going to make the spools just with my marker. Well, no, change of plan. I am going to, do I need this little of a brush? I might. I'm going to hit this kind of that's that same ochre color that I used earlier. And I'm going to see if I can make some spools. Kind of bow tie shape. Yep. Okay. So have you started a journal? How's it going if you have? If you haven't, are you considering it? I hope you are. Okay, there's one spool. Another spool. If you're not working on an art journal or a junk journal, what are you working on? Are you getting some art in every day? It really is so helpful if you can just find even just a couple of minutes. Get yourself some kind of a sketchbook and a Sharpie marker or a pencil or just whatever you have. And get yourself going in maybe some drawing or some doodles. It's only for you. You know, even if all you make is X's and O's, just do something to keep your hands going, keep your mind going, keep your eye and hand coordination where you want it to be. I think all that is just so helpful and so important. Now, when people see these little birds, I don't think they always realize, unless they're artists themselves, that these take a little time. These take a little work. But they do. But I think they're worth it, and I enjoy the process. So, I keep making them. Make this spool a little bit smaller. If you ever go to a fabric store, there's spools of every shape. They're like cone shapes, they're like bow tie shapes, they're just plain rectangles. I don't even know how the thread stays on those, but it does. Okay. All right, so we've got our spools going. Now, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take some of these colors that we've already used. Do I want? I'm thinking. I think I do. I'm going to take some paper towel, and And I'm just going to kind of cover up our friends like that. And now I want a kind of a, I don't know, a wilder brush. See how this one's kind of splayed? Wet it down. And I'm going to use some of the colors. So what colors? I have light blue, dark blue. We can start with that. Pretty wet. And I'm just going to put some splatters. So that's the light blue. Here's the dark blue, or darker. And kind of a purple. Okay, that's it. That's enough of those. Let's see. Yeah, good. That just gives it a little sparkle. I love it. Okay, now back to our little birds, and those little speckles can dry. I'm gonna had a leftover piece, and I'm just gonna mop up because I don't want to drag my arms through it and then make weird marks that don't seem to belong. So I'm just gonna clean up those little bubbles. Yeah, okay, that's good. All right, now our little birds. Gonna start and turning my paper just a little bit. Outline the eye. Come on, pen. Outline the eye. And then looking more down. And a little eyebrow and a little eyebrow. And give this one an eye. Little down looking. And then this one, he's going to have like an eyebrow down. And then little eyebrow. Get their beaks in here. And her little beak. And this little beak. That's a big beak. That's okay. All right, now their legs. So this guy going to be standing here. Maybe he's kind of hesitating to grab one. We'll put his got some little stripes. Okay, and now her. And we'll give her polka dots. Like that. Sorry, I'm getting so quiet. Okay, this little sideways guy. Let's see. Well, he's going to have one leg down. And then he's going to have one leg heading out. And I'm just going to make his legs solid. And there. He's going to have a great big curl. She's going to have maybe just some dots like this. And then I'm going to give him like he combed his hair this morning. What do you think about that? Yeah. And I think she's going to have some eyelashes. And now they need some wings. This wing you can hardly see. This wing a little more. She's got her wings down like this. And this guy, there. Aren't they fun? Okay, now I'm just going to give the threads a little bit of lines. I realize on these darker colors you might not be able to see it, but just, you know. And then I think what I'm going to do is going to take this Twiggy brush, this little liner, and I'm going to go into the blue, and I'm going to give this guy a little bit of that blue thread. Like that. What about that? Oh, I'm laughing at myself, aren't I? That's okay. I think they look fun. All right, now, little grass. So I'm taking that flat brush again because they need a little bit of grounding. So I'm going to start with the light color, a light green, and I'm just going to give, you know, little hints because it's really busy enough. Don't you think? And then I'm going to take, I think what I'll do is I'm going to take that little liner brush in the darker green and just give it a few like this. Just a few blades of grass here and there. Okay. All right, now the flying guy. Didn't forget about the flying guy. Well, I kind of did, but I'm pretending like you didn't notice. And I'm going to give him, you know what? I'm not going to give him white eyes. He's too far away. We're just going to go with the marker and just give him some eyes. Yeah, that's plenty. Little beak, and then just some little feet coming out like a landing. There. Oh my goodness, my goodness. I'm going to sign this. And there we've got our little birds. It's still a little bit wet from the splatters. So I'll bring this back up and show you, and we'll pull the tape off, okay? All right, now, this guy. Let's go back to this one. He's looking good. I'm going to give him a few little sprigs of grass here. That's just going to kind of help ground him. Like that. Maybe some way out here. Yeah, that's good. And I'm going to give him some eyes. And he's looking right at us. He's so happy to see us. And why not? I may have to go back in and darken that up just a little bit, but that's okay. And I'm going to give him just a few little feathers. Like that. All right, I'm going to give the flowers some details. I think what I'm going to do is just put some dots in the centers. I like that. And I think I'll give the leaves just a little hint of a vein. There. Okay, simple is better. Sign this one. All right, now with this one, because I'm calling this one done, I'm going to go ahead and round my corners because this is going to go in that journal, kind of like those other journal cards that we made. Well, that didn't seem to go very good. Let's try it again. That's better. You really got to seat these in good, or it will not cut right. And this heavy watercolor paper is not really too happy about being cut. But I'm the boss, right? Okay, so this is going to go in our little journal. And let's see how the birds are doing over here. Okay. I just see 1 or 2 little dots. I think it'll be fine. We're going to go ahead and... Now, if it starts to tear the paper, then we have to go to plan B. But so far, no. Okay, very good. Do you like these birds? Let me know in the comments what you think. I think they're just as fun as can be. I really do. I'm paying attention because I really don't want to get carried away and yank off a bunch of the watercolor paper. Okay, that's excellent. 2 more. I am going slow and careful. There's some wet spots, so that's why I'm not reaching over the top of it. Oh, I don't want to put my hand where you can't see. All right. What do you think? I'm still not going to round these corners because, again, there's still some of those dots that are wet, and I don't want them to take off, but I think they are fun. Yep, I really, really do. Okay. All right. So now we've got some more of these. I think we can do... Should we do... Oh, we're going to do the artist trading cards. All right. Now, these can be a lot of fun. And I'm going to turn this. And I'm only using this because otherwise it's white on white. And it's just awfully hard to see. So, let's give... I like to do artist trading cards in kind of a series of 3. I think that's a fun way to go. Now, I could do 3 birds, I could do 3 flowers, I could do any number of things. I think what I'm going to do is maybe 3 fantasy flowers. How about that? Or maybe just flowers and kind of see where it all takes us. So I'm using my flat brush. And I'm going into this pinkety pink. I don't know if you can see. Maybe if I put it up here. And we can start. I'm going to start in the middle one. And I'm just going to give it a C shape. And a C shape. And a C shape again. Pressing. C shape. C shape. Pressing as I go. A little more pigment. C shape, and now this bottom one we're going to see more of. Start, bring it wider, and there, and a little petals here and here. There. Just a little fantasy rose. And maybe I'll give it just one little bud up here. Okay. Now, same brush, going into the kind of a middly green here. I have no idea what you can see. I really don't. I'm sorry. Okay. But I feel confident you can see this. And roses have kind of like, I don't know, bumpy leaves, kind of. So I'm just going to add a couple of leaves. It's pretty wet, which is good. I'm just going to dry that, and I'm going to take my little twiggy, and I'm just going to add some little spikes. Now again, Horticulturally, I'm sure these are far from correct, but I really don't care. I'm going to just widen them up a little bit. Can you see them? I wish I could hear your voices, but it feels like you're here with me. Painting, visiting. Yeah, it does. I'm making these spikes a little bit heavier on that, on the side I'm working on now, a little bit heavier, and then a little bit lighter, and then kind of bringing these to a point. Okay. Sticking with my little twiggy, I'm gonna give this guy a little stem and some of these things. And then maybe just a couple up close to the pink. All right, and little stem, little stem. Okay, now I'm going to go into a little bit of this purpley pink, same twiggy, and I'm just going to kind of darken up what I think is kind of like the inner part a little bit. And like I said, this is pure fantasy. No one's going to look at this and say, oh, American Beauty Rose. No, it's okay. And there, and there. A little bit darker here. And here. Is it looking anything like a rose to you? I mean, anything? Kinda? Sorta? Maybe? Not at all? Nothing would surprise me. Okay. Now, here's where the brave part comes in. I want a bigger round brush. This is a 16. Big enough for you? I'm going in the clean water side, dabbing it off, and I'm just going to kind of blur all this a little bit. And this paper does have a cellulose to it and some sizing. So it's a little bit absorbent, but it's okay. Just kind of blurring everything. Okay. Okay. Leave that alone. I'm going to take that twiggy and I'm going to go into the darker pink and I'm just going to put a few little lines, like, you know, the petals are kind of folded like that. Okay. All right. I'm going to get some of that green and more pigment than water. And I'm just going to put one line in there. It needs something. Not sure, but let's give this a try. Kind of making a little circle here. And it may absorb up some of that pink, and I really don't care. And I'm going to take, I don't want to dig that 16. I'm not that brave. And I'm going to take some of this pink. You know what? Let's not get these two. Just give that a, I know I'm going to go in the other pink. How about that? Oh, Julie. Oh, Julie, you just don't know when to stop, do you? Guess not. Okay. See what we got. Yes, see, I like that better. Okay. This needs to be set to dry. Okay. You dry. And now I'm just going to take this paper towel, because of course it went everywhere. That's all right. And let's see. Okay, so we've got a rose. Should I make them all roses? Why not? Okay. I mean, they never come out the same, really. Okay, take this wide one, and I think this time I'm going to start with the darker pink. Same thing, little C shape, and round and around. Little dot in there, round, round. Bring this all the way around. A little fatter here in the front. Little few back here. A little more pigment. Okay. Don't mind that. And then maybe this one, I will give just a few more leaves. So I'm going into that same leaf color, and I'm gonna put a dot, put a dot, put a dot. Dry and I don't know, like when you get into different varieties of roses, do they like have different shaped leaves a little bit or not really? Or I don't know. I just do not know. Okay, I'm going to give it maybe a bigger leaf up here. I'm trying to bring the brush up into my hand. I'm just making those little spiky guys. And I'm gonna make some of those little spiky guys on this one. And this one. So I'm not sure what I did there, but it's okay. Okay. And now I'm going to take that little twiggy one and just make some real fine stems on the leaves. And give him a couple of veins. Okay, now I'm going to take a round brush this time. And I'm going to take that same pink, I'm going to put it right here in that yellow spot. And I'm just going to add a touch of purple. 2 touches. But I'm going to add some more pink. Is that darker? I think so. All right, now I'm going to just give it some of these areas of darker here and there. Like that. I'm concentrating and then I go quiet. I'm sorry. Okay. This looks weird. Let me get there. That helped a lot. Okay. All right. Now, this one's awful wet. I'm going to just let it rest a minute and before I kind of blur it up. And then, what's this one going to be? Well, I'm going to use my smaller brush, not that big old flat brush. And I'm going to make, you know, kind of the same premise, making these little C shapes. Like this. And I'll make one more like this. So I'm making it like a little bit smaller. And make one more. You need more of a heftier leaf on there. We go. There, okay. And now I'm going to take that other pink color that's in this other rose. So this one has kind of a combination of the two. One's a dark, one's a light, and then this one is both. Yeah, okay. I like that. Now for some leaves. I think these leaves are just going to be too small for you to really see those bumps. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I'm sorry that I keep going so quiet. I really have to concentrate. I'm sorry. If I was a better teacher, I wouldn't have to do that. But it's just the way I am. To know me is to love me. One more. Two more. Three more. Like I said, sometimes I just don't know when to stop. Okay. Okay. I'm okay with that. When it's dry and not so apt to splatter or like, you know, spread like that, I'm going to add some splatters to it. I think I will add now with the little twiggy brush, just some stems. so that the leaves don't look like they're quite just so floating. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to, can't leave well enough alone, into that darker purplish color, and I'm going to give some to these pink ones. Just kind of in the center. Yeah, not all over, but I like that. I'm liking it. Some shadowy petals. Yep. And then maybe in these darkest ones, I'll see what this does. I'm just going to add a little. Okay. Good. Okay. Set this one aside. And I think I can go ahead and splatter up this one. Wet brush. Let's move this guy. Practically have to take it out, put it in the garage. So I splatter so much. All right. I think that's good. Fine. I'm going to set it down to dry. And this one, has it dried enough? I mean, it doesn't take long because this paper is absorbent. And we'll take the pink this time. Okay. Good. Let this dry. So now we've made 3 of the artist trading cards, and we've made 2 of the bigger cards. So let's just move this a little bit. And I'm just going to take this water and get some of these. I know you didn't want to watch a video of housekeeping, but I don't want to get these paintings all yucked up, you know. That would make me sad. So I want to give them a good drying off on this table. And then I'm going to bring them up to show you. Okay? Okay. All right. So here is our first bird. I think he is fun. Okay. And these are the second one. And I think they're equally fun. I'm going to go ahead, round these corners. And really have to tuck it in and give it a hard squeeze. I don't know, you'd think I never did this before, but I just honestly, look at, it didn't even cut. And I thought maybe by using my hand that way it would cut better. Oh, okay, that's good. And one more. Okay, so there's number 2 with the 3 birds. Can you see them? 3 birds looking at the spools of thread. And then we've got our three artist trading cards, which are still a little wet. But I'm picking them up as careful as I know how. And there. And one more. And here. Okay. So in our next video, we're going to be putting these in plus some other ephemera that I made, and maybe we'll be able to just take that journal and sew it up. Wouldn't that be great? Thank you so much for joining me. Please, if you would consider giving me a thumbs up, it helps my new channel so much. Thank you for joining me today. If you're not sure about what we're doing with this journaling, just go back a few videos and you can see this from start to finish. In the meantime, I'll see you over at my next video. Bye.